I may have a way of increasing nanoparticle production using a laser by 500%. I've been working on the laser, trying to increase the output of the laser, output as far as amount of nanoparticles so we can get out of the laser. I sell nanoparticles, and some of the nanoparticles I can't make with plasma arc, but I can make them with the laser. Electrum is one of the things that I can only make with the laser because it disintegrates with plasma arc. But there are a bunch of other smaller stuff like zinc and magnesium. Oh my gosh, magnesium, that I can only make with the laser because they're generally unstable with plasma arc. So trying to increase the power of the laser to make it easier for the things that I need to make with the laser. There are factors involved with the laser. There's the speed that the laser goes back and forth at. There's the power rating of the laser, of course. Basically the two things that we can play around with laser. But I've been doing something innovative. I took glass microscope slides. Okay, see them? If I take a glass microscope slide and I put it on top of whatever it is that I'm doing the laser on, gold, platinum, zinc, copper, magnesium, it increases the output of the nanoparticles by 500%. Now that's a big increase, but it's got some problems. Well, the number one problem is if the laser's too hot, you will burn the slide. And generally speaking, I have an 18-watt laser. I put the thing around 9 watts, and I can mostly get some use out of it before the slide actually gets. It looks like you're engraving the thing. It's got lines in it. Of course, you can't. If the laser goes through that part, it's not going to work on the metal. So eventually, you have to throw the slides out. Now, luckily, these glass slides are relatively cheap, but I would like to get a couple uses out of them before where I have to toss them out. But it changes the dynamics of everything. Now, first, it means that if you use the glass slide method, you don't need more than 9 watts of power. In fact, you can't use more than 9 watts of power or you're tossing these things away quite a lot. So a 10-watt laser can make a whole mess load of nanoparticles. We don't need a 50-watt laser anymore. But there are some nanoparticle metals that the slide doesn't work with. Indium is one of them because it's a soft metal. It melts really easily. It winds up messing up the slide real bad. For hard metals like gold or platinum or palladium, the slide can work really nice. And the speed, you have to use a very fast speed. We're looking at regular metals without the slide. I do around 100 millimeters per minute. Run the laser back and forth. With the glass slide, it's about 1,000 millimeters per minute. Sometimes I'm playing around with 5,000 millimeters per minute. So a lot of my time and research has been into finding out what's going on here. I want to do a start to finish on using the laser, showing everything, from the laser, the petri dish, but I can't do that unless I figure this part out, because it's going to make a difference in how you want to do the laser. I mean, sure, I plan to cover both, but I don't actually know what the settings are best for this microscope slide thing. It's quite innovative, and when we take the microscope slide and we place it on top of the sample, the metal, whatever it is that we're doing, we actually create a very small layer of either air or water, but a very small amount. Now, when you don't have the microscope slide in there, you have the whole water that's all just dumped right down on top of the metal. So the laser has got to heat up the water around the metal in order to dislodge the material. But now, when we put the slide on here, there's either very little water sitting there between the laser and the metal, or no water at all. It could be an air gap there. And that's not a problem because the laser then can heat that metal a lot hotter than it could when the water was just swirling all around it. What happens is the metal turns into a gas, a vapor, and then it leaks out the sides of the glass, the microscope slide. And when it leaks out, it comes in contact with the cold water, cools down instantaneously, turns into a whole mess load of nanoparticles, gets dumped into our little 50 milliliter petri dish. One of the problems, like I said, is, well, I may go through one or two of these slides in the process because I still haven't figured out how to prevent the laser at times from reflecting back upward. It may not be able to do that at all. I mean, the good news is that if you are using a microscope slide, you don't have to put your sample on an angle anymore, because if the laser goes down through here and reflects back upward, as soon as it reflects back upward, it's going to etch the microscope slide. So the laser's never going to be able to bounce back into the laser head to burn the laser out. So in a sense, we've solved one problem with the laser slide. So the other problem is figuring out how to make the microscope slides last longer than one or two uses, and also the speed of the laser that's involved, the timing that's involved, all these little things that I still have to work out. That's been my major sort of research right now, and filling orders since I've put the Electrum up on the in the Nano store. That's been selling. That ties up some of my time as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little informal talk on what's going on here. I'm Tom, Alchemy Wizard. Have a great day. Talk to all of you wizards really soon.